Thank you very much, Dorothea. Thank you very much also for having me. I hope you are all able to hear me. Could you perhaps just give me, yeah, great. I see nodding heads. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Okay, are you also able to see my screen? Next question. Always, okay, great. So yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And it's my pleasure to introduce not only the European IP Helpdesk, but also some other innovation support initiatives. As when Peter did approach me, he said it would be nice if you could give an overview what is actually offered as innovation support by the European Commission when it comes to intellectual property. And yeah, you can see here I have brought a small overview, which I stole from our policy officer at that time, that was prepared in 21. And with his knowledge, I'm using it on such occasions as today. So just to explain it shortly, the y-axis shows the target groups. So here from Horizon Europe innovators and other IP professionals, and then SMEs in EU-funded research and innovation projects, and then all SMEs. And then the x-axis shows the IP lifecycle, so from awareness raising and information to the registration of intellectual property rights, then to the use and management of IP and IPRs, to then the IP commercialization, and finally the enforcement of the rights. And I'm sticking to this overview. As the overview, as I said, was prepared in 21, so I think it's end of March 21. I'm already sorry to announce that 3 of these support services ended already. So the red ones here, IPA for SME, opened their last call, and I think they provided their last service at the end of March. The last call was in September last year. And then we have leadership for SMEs. They are ending in August, but they're not accepting any more applications. And the IP booster, which was really interesting as it was specifically providing IP support to universities and research institutions, did unfortunately also end. But I'm still mentioning them here as all of them have still active websites with information and cases, which could be of interest for you if you're looking for reference points. And they are also well sorted, so you can filter for the different intellectual property applications. Going on. So, but good news, the green ones are still active and still available. So I'm always starting with the bad news. So that means, yeah, and the yellow one didn't start yet. That's the service that is was already allocated to someone. I don't know yet who got it. We didn't, but I know that it's going to start this summer, and it's about awareness raising in general. But the European IP Information Center is, for example, the one-stop shop for all of you who would like to know, okay, what in general is intellectual property? And yeah, in the end, to be honest, a little bit what I'm doing today, where can I find specific support? And I am unfortunately not able to speak about the IP voucher, IP pro bono services, as these are provided by the EU IPO, which is also commissioned, but I am, well, let's say my expertise clearly lies on the ECIP Helpdesk and the Horizon IP Scan, and therefore I prefer to only talk about these and to present also the opportunities and offers, and to answer questions mainly about them. Going on, so talking about the ECIP Helpdesk. I don't know, you probably have heard of the European IP Helpdesk, but there are also other geographical focuses. So Helpdesk for China, a Helpdesk for Southeast Asia, a Helpdesk for Latin America, India, and Africa. So all these geographical areas are actually covered with publications, training, and a helpline. What does that really mean? We are, well, all these help desks are providing free of charge first line confidential IP assistance in order then to help the target group. And I'm talking about the target group on the next slide. Is to help the target group to build your own capacity to deal with your intellectual property problems. So what does it really mean? That means you understand, okay, this is IP, is the first thing. What intellectual property or intellectual property right would be of interest for me? And where can I find help? And at what point do I need to reach out to professional help? I think these are the most important questions the first line advice is tackling. And these are the services we are offering. We have training, as I said, a website. We are all now. Then we have events, which are coming back now more and more, but at the moment, everything is virtual, as we know. And then we have, as I said, a helpline, and we are producing publications. And talking about the target group, so all the international IP SME help desks. I'm just quickly going back, right here. So you see in the name, Latin America IP SME help desk, Africa IP SME help desk. So all the international IP SME help desks are mainly and strictly focusing on small and medium-sized enterprises, whereas the European IP help desk is also supporting EU beneficiaries, research institutions, academia in general, students, everyone. So that's also, I think, the main reason I'm here today and representing them. As I hope most of you are also thinking about a career with their own company, perhaps, or I don't know, that's really up to you. But just saying that you know where to find support. So going on. These are the publications we offer. So we regularly produce publications in English, such as fact sheets, guides, infographics, clips, or videos, which are also from time to time translated by our IP ambassadors. So here you can find IP knowledge in the form of high-level publications, if you like, covering IP in the different countries, as I said. So I think there is a fact sheet on IP in all the countries I was showing before. Wait, I think I did. Yeah, so for example, for Southeast Asia, we have a fact sheet on Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, just to give you examples. Going back to the publications, the main task of these publications is, of course, to raise awareness, but to also provide insights in a very clear way that then you, the target group, are able to easily grasp what is meant, what is actually important for me. And that's why we are also focusing at the moment on the digitalization of all our offers to offer more e-learning models. And then, as we don't want to lose interpersonal exchange, we are also still offering our helpline. That means you can reach our IP experts every morning from, I think it's 8:30. Spain starts a bit later. All our helpline colleagues are based in Spain, just saying, until 6 o'clock. So I recommend, as we also have, we offer the possibility to submit your question on our website. I recommend to submit your question because that means you had the time to think it through, to write it down, and then call the helpline team. And often I also suggest to call one day later because then they had the time to take a look at the question and then they are able to explain what they would be anyway provide you in a written form as well. So you always get both. If you want to call, you can also just submit it and then wait for the reply. Both is working. And all the ECIP help desks are, of course, providing training. Here again, so you have to distinguish between the international IP SME help desks. So they are mainly focusing on IP in the context of business internationalization. And the European IP help desk that is then providing training or content and anything support on IP in EU-funded projects and IP in business in general with the focus on Europe. And we also offer this possibility to submit a training request on the website. And now I would just like to quickly introduce you to the special features, as I call it, of the European IP help desk. So the first thing is, as I said already, the target group. We are also supporting beneficiaries of EU-funded research projects, which includes academia in general. And we are also supporting, next to SMEs, also intermediaries providing innovation support. So if anyone out there of you would like to organize an IP training for your target group, don't hesitate and reach out to us. And another special feature is our ambassador scheme. So here we joined forces with the Enterprise Europe Network, which is another innovation support initiative of the European Commission. So it's actually, I think, the largest network to support SMEs in Europe. It's available in 60 countries and has over 3,000 experts. And yeah, too much promotion for the EEN. I should stop. I'm not talking about the EEN today. I'm just saying this is an amazing network to cooperate with. And we did start this ambassador scheme as we said, hey, the guys from the EEN, they have the direct contact to SMEs, to research institutions, to the researchers themselves, you today. And among them, among these members of the EEN, there are people that are specifically focusing on intellectual property in their day-to-day business. So it would be really nice to have them as a kind of satellite to establish exchange, to understand what their local target group would need, to grasp ideas, to meet from time to time, and to, on the other hand, also provide them with input from EC side. So, and my favorite slide, Peter, who invited me to be here with you today and to present, is actually one of our IP ambassadors. Peter, thanks a lot. I'm not sure if you're at your microphone at the moment, but I just wanted to ask you, I think you're with us now with the ambassador scheme for 5 years now already, so quite some time. I think the whole scheme exists only 9 years, so more than half of it. But please correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't matter if you don't want to switch on your microphone now. It's fine. So perhaps I can explain a little bit further. So the ambassadors, you can find all ambassadors on our website. We have a map and we have their direct contact, means even, as you can see here, the phone number and the email address. And if you have an IP related question, so it depends a bit on the profile, because in Peter's case, his focus is technology transfer, of course. But as I said, we have ambassadors that are focusing on business support. So they are working for chambers of commerce, or they are working for tech transfer offices, or as you wish. So you can also filter the competences soon. So this is something we're working on at the moment. But in most cases, the people are already appreciating very much they can speak in their mother tongue, which is also not always natural when it comes to EC services. Then this is the special IP training offer of the European IP Helpdesk. So this is, as I said, everyone is, all the helpdesks are offering IP training, but the European IP Helpdesk has a regular IP training curriculum. So we are offering webinar training twice per week. And for example, yesterday we had a training on the new copyright directive. Next week we are going to talk about IP and artificial intelligence. This is then even the advanced one. Yeah, this is a bit unfortunate here. So you see that the advanced one is on the 27th of April, and the let's say the basic model is on the 5th of May. It is because the basic model did already take place 3 weeks ago. So we are always repeating in order to provide the community with as much content as possible. But we are also recording all sessions. So if you click on e-learning on the website, you can always find the latest recording. Yeah, and then we also offer IP in biotech, copyright in collaborative projects. I think this could be really useful for you guys, as this is a big question. When I'm working in a project group, in a consortium, and I have an idea, well, who does it really belong to if I already published it on a PowerPoint presentation and so on. So this is really interesting. And another, let's say, all-star webinar is the Effective IP Outreach Strategies webinar that is explaining the difference between communication, dissemination, and exploitation. Also always a big question for the helpline. And we joined forces as the European IP Helpdesk with the EPO and the CPVO. So with the EPO, we have 2 different series. The first one is about patent protection for EU funding beneficiaries. So here we have half of the session is provided by an expert of us that is talking about IP in EU funded projects. And then the other half of the session is provided by an EPO examiner that is then in detail explaining the do's and don'ts he is stumbling upon, let's say, when they are checking patent applications. And then the second series with the EPO is focusing on a new cooperation. We jointly developed technology transfer case studies. So I think this is also highly of interest for you. 7 case studies so far were already published. And for each of these case studies, we are organizing a webinar. So the first one is planned for the 19th of May, next month. And with the CPVO, we have a series of 8 sessions on different aspects of plant variety rights. Depending on the field you're working in, this can be of interest. And now, half of my presentation is done. Going on, the Horizon IP scan. So what is it? First of all, I know I'm mainly speaking to students and researchers here, but just in case you're planning to start your own company, startup, spin-off, the Horizon IP scan, as soon as you get involved, how to protect your existing intellectual property when, how we call it, you are embarking on a research and innovation endeavor with multiple partners. It really means that we want to assist you in developing a shared strategy with the partners and to manage and exploit new IP that is also jointly then generated. So first thing, secure your own IP. Second thing, to understand how to manage and exploit jointly generated IP. And this is done for SMEs that are, for example, about to sign a grant agreement, for SMEs that recently signed a grant agreement, or SMEs that have been signposted by the Horizon Results Booster. That's another EC initiative that is currently offered, and others that are signposted by the Enterprise Europe network. So you are lucky. You all know Peter, and Peter is a member of the Enterprise Europe network. So every SME that is approaching the Horizon IP scan service via Peter is, and that is, of course, involved in a collaborative research project, is going to be eligible for the service. So Peter, you're the gatekeeper. No, and everyone else, of course, you are also welcome to apply. I think the main condition is to be an SME following the definition of the European Union and to be involved in a collaborative project. So the service is offering an IP Prediagnosis service. What does this really mean? If you look on my slide on the right side, lower right side, you can see we have a pre-interview, which means that the SME is asked to fill in a questionnaire that is then helping them also to understand what intellectual property they have, what could be intellectual property, how could that be turned into an asset. And then we have the main interview with an expert that is allocated. And this interview lasts about 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, it is a day. You should then reserve for that. And after that, the expert is going to draft a report and recommendations for you. So this is really a very nice full-scale service. And it depends if then also, for example, you are not the only SME in your collaborative project, but other SMEs in your project also joined and got the Horizon IP scan service. You can then even schedule with your experts a group debriefing where then the continuation or let's say the IP strategy of the project can be discussed. I think this is quite nice. And yeah, we did hide the request button quite well. If you look here and here, yeah, I think this one is even better hidden than this one. This one can be found, but just saying these are the places where you can find the request form to submit your application. And this is just an overview of SME innovation support services. So I put it at the end of the presentation as I knew you are not all SMEs, but even though as I'm sharing this presentation, I thought it could be useful even for the future. So we have the ambassador scheme and the Enterprise Europe network. We have the EU IPO learning portal. We have the WIPO Academy, which I use very much. The content is amazing. And Olga, I love that we are both sharing the love for stripes. And then we have the Ideas Powered for Business SME Fund by EU IPO, of course, and the new website from the EU IPO, which I call the one-stop shop for SMEs innovation support. I just recognized that I didn't include the link now, but I will do it after that, so it will be shared with you. And then we have, as I said, the Horizon IP Scan, the Results Booster, the EPO Academy, and 4IP Council. If you don't know 4IP Council yet, just take a look at their website. They are providing interactive fact sheets, so you can click your way through. It's kind of a, if you click, they are asking you a question, you have 3 different possibilities to answer, and then depending on your answer, you're then following kind of a tree, a logical tree. And that's it. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks a lot.